Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Skyrim. Last time, we cleared out Golden Glow Estate on behalf of Maven Blackbriar. This time, we are going to clear out the entirety of Honningbrew Meadery, because we now have access to it for the quest Dampened Spirits. So we'll re-clear the entire thing. Let's start with the exterior. Let's do the exterior of the actual meadery that we can get into. Remember, this is the boilery, and the door requires a key, which is still the case. And if we head around back here, remember that Aymar and Malis are at the Bannered Mare, so Sabjorn is the only one here inside the main building. That should make things pretty easy on us. So here we are in the bar. There's a dead skeever. That was not here before. Also, note that Sabjorn's routine has changed. He's just going to stay right where he is. He won't be moving, which is handy for us. Makes clearing out the bar area much easier, since everything is still stealing and will always be stealing. Another dead skeever. Books that we've already read. And now, let's talk to Sabjorn.
What are you gawking at? Can't you see I have problems here?
Is something wrong?
Are you kidding me? Look at this place. I'm supposed to be holding a tasting of the new Honningbrew Reserve for the captain of the guard. If he sees the meadery in this state, I'll be ruined.
I might be able to help.
Oh, really? And I don't suppose you just do it out of the kindness of your heart, would you? I hope you're not expecting to get paid until the job's done.
That's the only way I operate.
Oh, very well. Here's half. You'll get the rest when the job's done. My only demand is that these vermin are permanently eliminated before my reputation is completely destroyed.
How do I permanently clear the vermin?
I bought some poison. I was going to have my lazy good-for-nothing assistant Malis handle it, but he seems to have vanished. If you plant this in the vermin's nest, it should stop them from ever coming back.
You've got a deal.
Don't come back until every one of those things are dead.
Completed. Speak to Sabjorn. We got a key to the meadery, pest poison, 500 gold. And new objectives, poison the nest and poison the Honningbrew vat. You mentioned someone named Malis?
Malis is the best deal I've ever made. Lent him a bit of gold some time ago I knew he'd never be able to pay back. Nothing like free labor to make operating costs cheaper.
I haven't finished the job yet.
Why are you standing here then? I've told the captain of the guard we'll have the meadery cleared for the tasting, and he could be here any minute. Now I've got to clean up this mess. Was something we discussed unclear?
Alright.
Remember, you don't get paid until they're all dead.
Alright, so now we can re-clear the storage area. Well, it seems like a far cry from everything has respawned. Well, that's okay by me. Note the bear traps present here. Those are new. So let's keep going. If this seems repetitive, it is, but not entirely, because something has changed. I'll point it out when we get there. There, that's fine. Let's head upstairs. Lusty Argonian Maid V2. Little light reading, always good. Where we really need to get to is Sabjorn's bedroom, which we can now unlock with the key, which I don't mind doing because we picked it on our first visit. We still can't get into Sabjorn's dresser. Books and books and books. Alright. I believe we are going to have to pick open this expert door again. But behold, that thing I mentioned that has changed. The Honningbrew decanter. Return the Honningbrew decanter to Delvin. That is the special loot Litany of Larceny item for this quest, Dampened Spirits. Now we're ready to do what we couldn't do before. Head into the Honningbrew basement. Venom Fang Skeever. Special skeevers. So we did not have access to the basement on our first visit, so this is... So these Venom Fang skeevers are poisoning us when we get bitten. That's interesting. Let's just steal all this stuff as we make our way through the basement. Active bear trap, so be careful. And now we are into the pest tunnels. couple of other ones, too. They're all dead, so let's heal up. And let's continue on. Spiders now. 5 of them. Four tiny ones and 1 mid-size. And I'm sure a giant one will drop from the ceiling before we're done. Why? Always drops from the ceiling before you're done. Well, we've got the other 5, we've got the web sack. Did I reach those glowing mushrooms? Yes. Just need to time that press of the E key exactly right. There we go. Web sack here. That one's not a searchable web sack. That's fine. Let's get these glowing mushrooms. Some subject to clipping errors. That's fine, don't mind if I fix those clipping errors. This one's too far back and we'll never get as well. There. It's not letting me search those websites. That's right. Those. And there actually wasn't a giant one. Who knew? Onward. Bear trap, a tripwire, is a wizard chucking fireballs at me. Well, let's deal with him. That was an interesting little interlude. Hamlet. He's got a journal. Oh, but first, we've got another skeever to kill. There. Now everybody's dead. Hamelin's Journal. 10 years of ridicule, 10 years of imprisonment, 10 years of exile. The children threw rocks, and the women spat upon me as the menfolk dragged me into Whiterun's prison. They branded me a danger to their pitiful existence, used words like madman and insane. Could a madman escape the prisons undetected? Could a lunatic establish a laboratory right under their noses? Could a psychopath create a mighty army from the common skeever? My days as an apprentice alchemist in Winterhold were no better. Those egotistical braggarts couldn't compete with my abilities. Where they fell short, I'd constantly excel. Did they appreciate my genius? Did they relish my contributions? No. My instructors beat me and said I was irresponsible, and the Archmage cast me into the streets like a common beggar. As my enemy grows complacent and weak, as they forget Hamelin and his utter brilliance, I build my army. I use every bit of knowledge at my disposal to forge their demise. Thanks to Sabjorn's unwitting assistance, my legion grows stronger every day. The irony that the same ingredients used to make his vile drink could be used to feed my offspring isn't lost upon me. Oh, they will pay. Their ignorance of impending annihilation amuses me. I will bury Whiterun and watch Winterhold burn, and when they experience the fury I've unleashed upon them, when my progeny are gnawing the flesh from their bones, they will come begging and groveling at my feet. But there will be no mercy, no quarter, and no leniency, and I will laugh, and I will dance, and I will rejoice over their mangled, broken corpses. The time for recompense has arrived. 10 years of pain, 10 years of misery, 10 years of death. Oh, okay. So I guess he was creating poisonous skeevers. That was his big master plan. Seems that way. Anyway, let's go over here. He's got an alchemy lab. A couple of potions. A novice-locked chest. And a book. 3 Thieves. This one I have not read. It is a new sneak skill book. Let me take it off the book list. It's only the second sneak skill book we found. I jumped to free boosts, dropped down to sneak. There are now 6 free boosts remaining for sneak. 3 skill books to find, and 3 quests to complete. Not that it matters, my sneak's at 100. 3 Thieves, by Anonymous. The problem with thieves today, said Lados, is the lack of technique. I know there's no honor among thieves, and there never was, but there used to be some pride, some skill, some basic creativity. It really makes those of us with a sense of history despair. Imolen sneered, slamming down his flagon of grief violently on the rough-hewn table. Vivek, what do you want us to say? You asks us, what do you do when you see a guard? And I says, stab the fetcher in the back. What do you prefer? We challenge him to a game of chits? So much ambition, so little education, said Lados with a sigh. My dear friends, we aren't mugging some Nord tourist fresh off the ferry. The Cobbler's Guild Hall may not sound intimidating, but tonight, when the dues collection is housed there before being sent to the bank, the security's going to be tighter than a Quama's ass. You can't just stab at every back you encounter and expect to make it into the vaults. Why don't you explain specifically what you'd like us to do? Asked Gausaya calmly, trying to keep the tone of the group down. Most locals at the Plot and Plaster Corner Club in Tel Aruun knew enough not to listen in, but she knew better than to take any chances. The common thief, said Lados, pouring himself more grief, warming to his subject, sticks his dagger in his opponent's back. This may slay the target, but more often gives him time to scream and drenches the attacker with blood. Not good. Now a good throat slashing, properly executed, can both slay and silence a guard and leave the thief relatively blood-free. And after all, after the robbery, we don't want people seeing a bunch of blood-soaked butchers running through the streets. Even in Tel Aruun, that's likely to warrant suspicion. If you can catch your victim lying down asleep or resting, you are in an excellent position. You place one hand over the mouth with your thumb under the chin, Then you use your other hand to slit the throat and quickly turn the head to one side so the body bleeds out away from you. There is a risk here of becoming blood-stained if you don't move the head quickly enough. If you're unsure, strangle the victim first to avoid the blood that tends to spurt out in 3-foot jets when someone is stabbed while alive. A very good friend of mine, a thief in Nissus, whose name I won't mention, swears by the strangle and slash technique. Simply put, you grab your victim's throat from behind, and while throttling him, you batter his face against the opposite wall. When the victim is thus rendered unconscious, you slash his throat while still holding him from behind, and the risk of staining one's clothes with blood is practically non-existent. The classic technique, which requires less grappling than my friend's variation, is to place one hand over the victim's mouth, and then saw through the throat in 3 or 4 strokes, rather like playing a violin. It requires little effort, and while there's quite a bit of blood, it all jets forward away from you. There's no reason when one knows one is going to be slitting some throats not to take some precautions and bring some extra equipment. The best neck hackers I know generally carry a bit of wadded cloth on the aft side of their knives to keep blood from getting on their cuffs. It's impractical for this sort of assignment, but when you're only anticipating 1 or 2 victims, nothing beats throwing a sack over the target's head, drawing the string tight, and then supplying the killing blow or blows. Imogen laughed loudly. Can I see a demonstration sometime? Very soon, said Lados, if Galsaya has done her job. Galsaya brought out the map of the guild house, freshly stolen, and they began to detail out the strategy. The last several hours had been a whirlwind to all. In less than a day, the 3 had met, formulated a plan, bought or stolen the necessary ingredients, and were about to execute it. Not one of the 3 were sure whether confidence or stupidity were driving the other 2, but the fates were aligned. The guild house was going to be robbed. When the sun set, Lados, Galsaya, and Imogen approached the cobbler's guild house on the east side of town. Galsaya used her cachoose of stoneflower to mask their scent from the guard wolves as the 3 passed over the parapets. She also acted as lead scout, and Lados was impressed. For someone of relative inexperience, she knew her way through the shadows. Lados's expertise was demonstrated a dozen times, and the guards were of such a diverse variety, he was able to demonstrate all the means of silent assassination he had developed over the years. Imogen opened the vault in his unique and systematic method. As the tumblers fell beneath his fingers, he softly sang an old dirty tavern song about the 99 loves of Boethia. He said it helped him focus and organize difficult combinations. Within seconds, the vault was opened and the gold was in hand. They left the guild house an hour after they entered. No alarm had been raised, the gold was gone, and corpses lay pooling blood on the stone floors within. Well done, my friends, well done. You learned well, Lados said as he poured the gold pieces into the specially designed compartments in his tunic sleeves, where they held fast with no jingling or unusual budges. We'll meet back at the Plot and Plaster tomorrow morning and split up the bounty. The group parted ways. The only person who knew the most covert route through the city's sewer system, Lados, slipped in through a duct and vanished below. Galsaya threw on her shawl, muddied her face to resemble an old Fla fortune-teller, and headed north. Imogen headed east into the park, trusting his unnatural senses to keep him away from the city watch. Now I teach them the greatest lesson of all, thought Lados as he sloshed through the labyrinthine tunnels of sludge. His guar was waiting where he left it at the city gates, making a laconic lunch of the chokeweed shrub to which it had been leashed. On the road to Vivek, he thought of Galsaya and Imogen. Perhaps they had been caught and brought in for questioning already. It was a pity he couldn't see them undergoing interrogation. Who would break under pressure first? Imogen was certainly the tougher of the 2, but Galsaya doubtless had hidden reserves. It was merely intellectual curiosity. They thought his name was Lados, and he was meeting them at the Plot and Plaster. The authorities wouldn't therefore be looking for a Dunmer named Sathis celebrating his wealth miles and miles away in Vivek. As he prodded his mount forward and the sun began rising, Sathis pictured Galsaya and Imogen not undergoing interrogation, but sleeping the good, deep sleep of the wicked, dreaming of how they would spend their share of the gold. Both would wake up early and rush to the Plot and Plaster. He could see them now, Imogen laughing and carrying on, Galsaya hushing him to avoid bringing undue attention. They would take a couple flagons of grief, perhaps order a meal, a big one, and wait. Hours would pass, and so would their moods, the chain of reactions that every betrayed person exhibits: nervousness, doubt, bewilderment, anger. The sun was fully risen when Sathis reached the stables of his house on the outskirts of Vivek. He reined in his guar and filled its feed. The rest of the stalls were empty. It wouldn't be until that afternoon when his servants returned from the feast of St. Rilms in Nissus. They were good people, and he treated them well, but from past experience he knew that servants talked. If they began to connect his absences with thefts in other towns, it was only a matter of time before they would go to the authorities or blackmail him. After all, they were human. It was best in the long run to give them a week off with pay whenever he was out of town on business. He slipped the gold into the vault in his study and went upstairs. The schedule had been tight, but Sathis had given himself a few hours to rest before his household returned. His own bed was wonderfully soft and warm compared to the dreadful mattress he had to use at the canton in Tel Arun. Sathis woke up some time later from a nightmare. For a second after he opened his eyes, he thought he could still hear Imolen's voice nearby, singing the 99 Loves of Boethia. He lay still in his bed, waiting, but there was no sound except the usual creaks and groans of his old house. Afternoon sunlight came through his bedroom window in ribbons, catching dust. He closed his eyes. The song returned, and Sathis heard the vault door in his study swing open. The smell of stoneflower filled his nose, and he opened his eyes. Only a little of the afternoon sunlight could pierce the inside of the burlap sack. A strong feminine hand clamped over the mouth, and a thumb jabbed under his chin. Just as his throat opened and his head was shoved to the side, he heard Galsaya in her typical calm voice. "Thank you for the lesson, Sathis." And finally, this is the nest we have to poison. You apply the poison to the nest. Completed. Poison the nest. Oh yes, and I almost forgot. Sabjorn has provided me with poison I'm to apply to the nests deep within the tunnels under Honningbrew Meadery. As Malice predicted, I should be able to use the very same poison to taint Sabjorn's mead as well. Now here's the tunnel to continue. Air traps here. We are now presumably in the basement of the boilery. Let's make sure I'm not missing anything. And here we are. Okay. So let's clear this joint out. Few little goodies here in the middle. And we're over encumbered, but who cares? What little combat there was is already over. And I don't know why I'm sneaking over, because this place is empty. You can see the 4 big vats. We need to head up this staircase. There's the Honningbrew Brewhouse key right next to the door. Copy of Uncommon Taste we have already read. Save the chest for last, since it's probably the most exciting. this lock. Let's get it open. Gold, and the brewer lid. Completed. Poison the Honningbrew vat. Return to Sabiorn. That part's easy. Imar's back. Wager Malus Macius is back too. There's Commander Caius. There's Malus.
I can't wait to see Sabiorn squirm. I can't wait to see Sabiorn squirm.
I'm the commander of the guard here in Whiterun.
Here he is.
Was something we discussed unclear?
Job's finished.
Well, it's about time. I had to stall the captain until you were finished.
What about my pay?
You'll just have to wait until after the captain's finished. I suppose you can wait around if you must.
Attend the tasting ceremony.
Well, Sabiorn, now that you've taken care of your little pest problem, how about I get a taste of some of your mead?
Help yourself, my lord. It's my finest brew yet. I call it Honningbrew Reserve. I think you'll find it quite pleasing to your palate.
Oh, come now. This is mead, not some wine to be sipped and savored. By the 8. What's in this?
I don't know. What's wrong?
You assured me this place was clean. I'll see to it that you remain in irons for the rest of your days.
No, please. I don't understand.
Silence, idiot. I should have known better to trust this place after it's been riddled with filth.
I beg you, please. This is not what it seems.
You're in charge here until I can sort this all out.
It will be my pleasure.
And you're coming with me to Dragon's Reach. We'll see how quickly your memory clears in the city's prisons. Now, move.
Look, I assure you this is all just a huge misunderstanding.
I said, move.
Farewell, Sabiorn.
Speak to Malus Macius. The plan worked perfectly, and Whiterun's captain of the guard was stricken with illness when he drank the poisoned mead. Sabiorn's been carted off to jail, and Honningbrew Meadery is now closed.
I don't think that could have gone any better. Anything else you need before you head back to Riften?
I need to get a look at Sabiorn's books.
So, Maven wants to hunt down Sabiorn's private partner, huh? You're welcome to take a look around Sabiorn's office. He keeps most of his papers stashed in his desk. Here, this should help.
Identify Sabiorn's silent partner. We got Sabiorn's dresser key. What are you going to do with this place?
Start changing it over to the Blackbriar Meadery West as soon as possible. That was Maven's part of the deal. She's put me in charge of keeping the mead flowing, so that's exactly what I'm gonna do. If you're in the area, and you ever need anything fenced, you just let me know.
He never mentioned that lunatic living in the tunnels.
I thought it would be better to leave some of the details out of our previous discussion. Didn't want to risk you walking away from the job. Besides, you've done Maven a favor getting rid of him, and saved me from wasting coin hiring someone else to do it later.
Alright.
Remember to put in a good word with Maven for me.
Now that Malice's position as the owner of Honningbrew Meadery has been secured, I need to find any information explaining how Sabjorn was able to fund this costly operation.
I can't believe that worked. Remember to put in a good word with Maven for me.
I think I have to complete the quest, and then I can come back here and Malice will act as a fence. And I think that's going to work a lot better for me, because I think unlike Tonelia, I can just fire breath him and down he'll go. Easily reset. Anyway, let's head upstairs and make our way back to Sabjorn's dresser. So I think I mentioned you ultimately end up with a fence in every town. Sometimes, well, and there are two of each, because you have Tonelia and Riften by default. In Whiterun and in Solitude, you get your fence through the main quest line. In Windhelm and in Markarth, you get them from the side missions. A promissory note. Let me take that off my list, then we'll read it, and then we'll return to Maven Blackbriar. Alright. Promissory note. Sabjorn. Within the enclosed crate, you'll find the final payment. As we discussed, Honningbrew Meadery should now begin brewing mead at full production. In regards to your concerns about interference from Maven Blackbriar, I can assure you that I'll do everything in my power to keep her assets and her cronies at bay. This is the beginning of a long and successful future for both of us. No change in the text there. Let's do what it said and return to Maven.
Remember to put in a good word with Maven for me.
I'm gonna try leaving and coming back in, just in case. But I think I probably have to come back after I actually complete the quest. We'll see.
I trust you're not planning any trouble. What can I do for you, friend?
It doesn't look like he's open for business or anything.
I can't believe that worked.
Nope. Alright. Well, let's finish the quest, and then we'll start using him as our fence. So he's easier to get to. We can fast travel to Honningbrew Meadery and head right in the front door, which is awesome. I think Mistvale Keep might be the fastest way to get to Maven. Oh, yep, there she is.
I trust you have good news for me?
Job's finished. Here's the information you requested.
This doesn't tell me much. The only thing that could identify Sabjorn's partner is this odd little symbol.
Yes, I've seen that symbol before.
Well, whoever this mysterious marking represents, they'll regret starting a war with me. You should bring this information to the Thieves Guild immediately. There's also the matter of your payment. I believe you'll find this more than adequate for your services.
Iron Sword of Dismay. Completed, return to Maven Blackbriar, return to Brynjolf.
I believe we're done. I believe Brynjolf wishes to speak with you. We're done here. I believe we're done.
Alright. Well, let's head over to the guild now. We'll offload everything we can with Tonelia. And then just...
Ain't no doubt about it. The Thieves Guild is back, and they've got Riften in their grip. Seeing as how Riften is home to the Thieves Guild, maybe we can work something out if you have trouble with the law. For the right price.
Oh yeah, now that starts happening too. In cities where the Thieves Guild has a powerful presence, so right now that's Riften and Whiterun, this is something I forgot to mention. If you get caught committing a crime, you can typically bribe a guard for half the associated bounty, and the crime will just disappear. Don't have to go to jail, or resist arrest, or anything like that. It's nice. Perks and benefits, as they say. Brynjolf is in here somewhere. Maybe that's him asleep over there. I'm gonna go visit Tonelia and Delvin to keep up with the litany of larceny. Need to sell off that Honningbrew decanter. First.
Still have quite a good bit of jobs available, if you're looking for some extra coin.
Interested in buying this Honningbrew decanter?
Well, I was looking for this little beauty. If you happen across any other unusual trinkets like this, be sure to bring them to me. I promise it'll be worth the effort. I think you'll find this payment to be more than fair.
800 gold.
Hey,
Awesome.
this guild needs the coin. Walking away without taking work is not going to make you popular around here.
Welcome to the trinkets, odds and ends, that sort of thing. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Alright,
Looking
now
for
let's
wood.
visit Brynjolf. 'Cause once this quest is over, I can go offload everything else with Malice, who is susceptible to my reset via fire breath method. What's Brynjolf doing in here?
Word on the street is that poor Sabjorn has found himself in Whiterun's prison. How unfortunate for him.
Yet very fortunate for Maven.
Exactly. Now you're beginning to see how our little system works. Maven sent word that you discovered something else while you were out there. Something important to the guild?
The same symbol from Golden Glow was involved.
Then this is beyond coincidence. First Arangoth, and now Sabjorn. Someone's trying to take us down by driving a wedge between Maven and the Guild.
Is there anything we can do?
Mercer thinks he knows a way to identify this new thorn in our side. He wants to meet with you right away. And if I were you, I'd hurry. I've never seen him this angry before.
Completed. Dampened Spirits. Started. Scoundrel's Folly. Speak to Mercer Frey. So, the information I obtained from Honningbrew Meadery points to the same anonymous buyer of Golden Glow Estate. If successful, this individual would have completely estranged Maven Blackbriar from the Guild and destroyed it economically. It's becoming painfully obvious that it's time to shed some light on our mysterious adversary before they have a chance to strike again. Scoundrel's Folly. After the revelations at Honningbrew Meadery and Golden Glow Farm, it's time to put the pieces together and shed some light on the Thieves Guild's anonymous adversary.
No time for idle chatter. Mercer is awaiting your presence. No time for idle chatter. Mercer is awaiting your presence.
That's fine. Let's go see it. And there's the Honningbrew decanter. It's popped up on his shelf.
So, the ending of my tale,
Ah, there you are. I've consulted my contacts regarding the information you recovered from Golden Glow Estate, but no one can identify that symbol.
I found the same marking at Honningbrew Meadery.
It would seem our adversary is attempting to take us apart indirectly by angering Maven Blackbriar. Very clever.
You admire them?
They're well funded, and they've been able to avoid identification for years. I'm impressed it reached this point. Just don't mistake my admiration for complacency. Our nemesis is going to pay dearly.
How can we make them pay?
Because even after all their posturing and planning, they've made a mistake. The parchment you recovered mentions a Godjal lie. According to my sources, that's an old alias used by one of our contacts. His real name is Gullumai.
Where do I begin?
Gullumai is our inside man at the East Empire Company in Solitude. I'm betting he acted as a go-between for the sale of Golden Glow Estate and that he can finger our buyer. Get out there, shake him down, see what you come up with. Talk to Brynjolf before you leave if you have any questions.
Optional, speak to Brynjolf, speak to Gullumai. Mercer Frey has pointed to Solitude as my next destination. I'm to meet up with an old Argonian contact for the guild named Gullumai. It's hoped he'll be able to identify the Thieves Guild's anonymous adversary.
Arangoth was a fool to think he could get away with this.
What's Gullumai's story?
When Gullumai was getting us merchandise from the East Empire Company, we were making a hefty profit. It was so lucrative, I was considering moving the guild to Solitude to save us time.
What happened?
Gullumai started to get greedy and cut us out of the deal. Almost can't say I blame the scaly bastard. Started out innocent enough. He kept claiming the shipments were light because of Imperial interference. Then maybe a few years ago it all stopped. He didn't even bother to contact us anymore.
How is all this affecting the guild?
Golden Glow Estate provided a huge payout for us before Arangoth locked us out. Maven looked the other way as long as the honey kept flowing, and we kept him in line.
And Honningbrew?
Let's not kid ourselves. Blackbriar mead is swill. The only thing keeping it successful is Maven. Word on the street was that Honningbrew tasted better, cost less, and Sabjorn didn't shove it down everyone's throat. If Sabjorn ever managed to push Maven off her pedestal, we'd all be in trouble.
Seems all our eggs were in one basket.
Look, in case you hadn't noticed, these aren't the glory days of the guild. We've lost more clients in the last decade than I'd care to count, but Maven's stuck with us throughout the entire ordeal. I'll be damned if I'm gonna lose her to, well, to whatever they are.
Fair enough.
I need you to put all your efforts into this job. We can't afford any mistakes.
Alright, let's go talk to Brynjolf.
Yes?
is.
I can't believe Gullimeye's mixed up in all this. That Argonian couldn't find his tail with both hands. Don't get me wrong, he could scam a beggar out of his last septim, but he's no mastermind.
Think he'll give me trouble?
Trouble? Huh. He's one of the most stubborn lizards I've ever met. You have your work cut out for you.
So how do I get him to talk?
You're going to have to buy him off. It's the only way to get his attention. If that fails, follow him and see what he's up to. If I know Gullimeye, he's in way over his head, and you'll be able to use it as leverage.
He's going to owe us for this betrayal.
Aye, he does indeed. And with his fingers in the East Empire Company's pie, we'll make good use of that debt. If I'm not being clear enough, that means we don't want him killed. For now, just keep on his tail and he's bound to step into something he can't scrape off his boot.
Completed. Optional. Speak to Brynjolf. East Empire Company? Who are they?
A mercantile group that has established ports all over Tamriel. They pretty much dominate the whole shipping industry. The Emperor himself supposedly backs them, which means they have fairly unlimited resources. So don't get their feathers in a ruffle.
You think Gullimeye will give me trouble?
There are thieves, and then there is Gullimeye. No honor, no code at all. He'd shake your hand and stab you in the back at the same time. The cut he's supposed to provide the guild has dwindled as of late. He says pickings in the warehouse are slim, but I'm certain he's lying. Keep your eyes on him. He's quite crafty.
If I get information from Gullimeye, what then?
Just head right back to the guild and get the information to Mercer. Nothing else is more important. If you discover Gullimeye's holding out on us and has more loot stashed away than he claims, we'd find that information quite valuable as well.
How is Gullimeye an asset to the guild?
Gullimeye works in the East Empire Company warehouse. He helps maintain all of the shipments of goods that goes in and out of Solitude. That means he has the pick of the litter from some of the finest goods to grace Skyrim's shores. He isn't exactly in the guild, but he pays us a cut of all the stuff he lifts from the warehouse.
Alright.
Good luck in Solitude. Keep Gullimeye alive, but remind him who we are.
Sure thing. So, with this all done, we will be leaving the Thieves Guild for a very long time, as it's going to be a while before I get to Solitude. Now let's try out our new fence. And then we'll go to Lakeview. And then, in the next video, we'll get back to good old-fashioned exploration. I was going to say, I swear the horse makes me think it's a dragon every time. Oh, there is a dragon. But it doesn't seem to be attacking anything, so...
You lost?
Blackbriar mead everywhere.
Been a while since I've seen you at the meadery. Bring me anything interesting?
How's business?
How could I complain when I went from Saviorn's lackey to one of the wealthiest merchants in Whiterun in no time at all? Plus, the meadery's doing so well, I'm almost having trouble keeping up with the demand. I'd say things couldn't be any better.
What will you give me for these?
Usual guild rate. Let's take a look at them.
Excellent. Well, I can sell him 1,500 worth of Honningbrew mead.
Do me a favor.
And I can fire
Speak to
breath him
Maven,
right down.
Tell her everything's well.
Excellent.
What brings you to... I give special rates to members.
Oh, it doesn't seem to work
Do me a
with him.
favor. If you speak to Maven, tell her everything's well at hand down here, okay?
Oh well, we'll do it the old-fashioned way, I guess. Just wait 48 hours. Now that may actually be slower than resetting to Amelia. I don't know. And it is what it is. What can we do? See if Aymar has anything to say.
If you need to sample some of the finest mead in Skyrim, you're in the right place. If you're looking to purchase any mead, speak to the brewmaster, Malus. Malus is teaching me everything he knows about brewing. Hopefully, I could take over his position someday.
Aymar just seems nice.
No offense, but you're not looking so good. Are you feeling ill?
Oh yeah,
Need something?
I've been diseased
I've
forever.
got plenty. Usual guild rate. Let's take a look at him.
There we go.
Do me a favor. If you speak to Maven,
Maybe it just didn't work that time. Let's see.
what brings you? Oh, a bit of this and a bit of that. Why don't you take a look at some of them? Do me a...
Alright, we'll have to wait 48 hours again. Well, shoot, I thought that was going to be, oh, so much better than Tonelia, but it turns out we can't reset him like we can her at all.
If you speak to...
Well, I guess we will continue using Tonelia, after all.
Maven, tell her everything's well at usual guild rate. Let's take a look at him.
Ring of Major Smithing, Iron Sword of Dismay, and I think we're done.
Do me
Yep,
a favor.
let's head to Lakeview now. Got to check on the family, got to do a couple things. Well, only got to do one thing. It's time to retrieve something out of our hoard.
Papa, you're back. Hey, I got you something. Hope you like it.
A blue mountain flower. Oh, that's not bad. Let's go downstairs and cure the disease. What all do I have extra? Just the blue mountain flower, and that's it. Okay, that's easy. Let's check Lucia's dresser. Camilla's glitched out, but she's awake. That's the important part. Invocation of Azura. That is a new and pretty rare book. I love that Lucia gives me all this rare shit that's otherwise so hard to find. Alright, Invocation of Azura. Let's give that a read. Invocation of Azura by Sigilla Parate. For 300 years I have been a priestess of Azura, the Daedric princess of Moonshadow, mother of the rose, and queen of the night sky. Every Hogaitham, which we celebrate on the 21st of First Seed, we summon her for guidance, as well as to offer things of worth and beauty to her majesty. She is a cruel but wise mistress. We do not invoke her on any Hogaitham troubled by thunderstorms, for those nights belong to the mad one, Sheogorath, even if they do coincide with the occasion. Azura at such times understands our caution. Azura's invocation is a very personal one. I have been priestess to 3 other Daedric princes, but Azura values the quality of her worshippers, and the truth behind our adoration of her. When I was a dark elven maid of 16, I joined my grandmother's coven, worshippers of Molag Bal, the schemer princess. Blackmail, extortion, and bribery are as much the weapons of the witches of Molag Bal as is dark magic. The invocation of Molag Bal is held on the 20th of Evening Star, except during stormy weather. This ceremony is seldom missed, but Molag Bal often appears to her cultists in mortal guise on other dates. When my grandmother died, in an attempt to poison the air of Firewatch, I re-examined my faith in the cult. My brother was a wizard of the cult of Boethia, and from what he told me, the Dark Warrior was closer to my spirit than the treacherous Molag Bal. Boethia is a warrior princess who acts more overtly than any other Daedroth. After years of skulking and scheming, it felt good to perform acts for a mistress which had direct, immediate consequences. Besides, I liked it that Boethia was a Daedra of the Dark Elves. Our cult would summon her on the day we called the Gauntlet, the 2nd of Sun's Dusk. Bloody competitions would be held in her honor, and the duels and battles would continue until 9 cultists were killed at the hands of other cultists. Boethia cared little for her cultists, she only cared for our blood. I do think I saw her smile when I accidentally slew my brother in a sparring session. My horror, I think, greatly pleased her. I left the cult soon after that. Boethia was too impersonal for me, too cold. I wanted a mistress of greater depth. For the next 18 years of my life, I worshipped no one. Instead, I read and researched. It was in an old and profane tone that I came upon the name of Nocturnal. Nocturnal the night mistress, Nocturnal the unfathomable. As the book prescribed, I called to her on her holy day, the 3rd of Hearthfire. At last I had found the personal mistress I had so long desired. I strove to understand her labyrinthine philosophy, the source of her mysterious pain. Everything about her was dark and shrouded, even the way she spoke and the acts she required of me. It took years for me to understand the simple fact that I could never understand Nocturnal. Her mystery was as essential to her as savagery was to Boethia or treachery was to Molag Bal. To understand Nocturnal is to negate her, to pull back the curtains cloaking her realm of darkness. As much as I loved her, I recognized the futility of unraveling her enigmas. I turned instead to her sister, Azura. Azura is the only Daedra princess I have ever worshipped who seems to care about her followers. Molag Bal wanted my mind, Boethia wanted my arms, and Nocturnal perhaps my curiosity. Azura wants all of that, and our love above all. Not our abject slavering, but our honest and genuine caring in all its forms. It is important to her that our emotions be engaged in her worship, and our love must also be directed inward. If we love her and hate ourselves, she feels our pain. I will, for all time, have no other mistress. Interesting. There's Camilla glitching
It means
out,
so much to us to
doing
have
some
the
kind of dance.
We have a cozy little prophet. Some may call this junk.
Poison
Me,
resistance.
I call them treasures.
That's alright. We can sell her the invocation of Azura and everything else we got out of Lucia's dresser. Alright, good.
Goodbye, my love.
Now, let's go here. It's time to grab something we've been hoarding. I need one of my Daedra hearts. And I need my troll fat. Let's get out here, and I'm gonna fast travel to Heartwood Mill and end the video there. Our next target is the orc stronghold I pointed out to you, Largashbur, which is very easy to get to from the mill. Alright, let's say goodbye to the Thieves Guild. Well, to the main Thieves Guild line, I should say. Every time we get to a new city, we can do one of their side missions, but the main line won't happen until we go to Solitude, which is the very last city we'll be visiting. This has been Let's Play Skyrim. We completed Dampened Spirits, we cleared out Honningbrew Meadery, we got a new fence, and we got directed to Solitude. Now we're leaving the Thieves Guild. Next time, we will go to Largashbur, our first orc stronghold, and kick off a new Daedric quest. Until then, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.